Something happened on January 29th, 2026 that has not happened in nearly a century. Gold hit $5,595 per ounce. Not $2,000, not $3,000, $5,595 per ounce. And every major bank on Wall Street, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, is now openly saying it could reach $6,000, $6,300, even higher before the end of this year. But here's what nobody is actually talking about. This is not just a gold rally. There is a specific signal buried inside this price move, a signal that has only appeared twice in the last 100 years. Once right before the Great Depression, once right before the worst inflation crisis of the 20th century. And right now in 2026, that signal is back, louder than it has ever been. So the question you should be asking is not, should I buy gold? The real question is, what exactly is gold telling us? Because whatever it is, the smartest money on the planet is already listening. Let's get the numbers straight before anything else. Gold went up roughly 60% in 2025 alone. That is the strongest annual gain since the late 1970s, according to the World Gold Council. If you had put $10,000 into gold at the start of 2025, you would have over $16,000 by year end. That beat stocks, bonds, real estate, and almost every other asset class on the planet. Then in 2026, gold kept going. It crossed $4,000, then $5,000. Then it hit $5,595 in January before pulling back. Right now, gold is trading somewhere around $4,700 to $4,800 per ounce, and analysts say the long-term direction is still up. Now, if gold was just going up because of supply and demand, this would be a basic video. But what we are going to look at today goes much deeper than that. We are going to look at 3 specific signals that gold is sending right now. Signals tied to government debt, the money supply, and the behavior of central banks around the world, and we are going to explain exactly why those signals are so unusual, and what they have meant every single time they appeared in history. By the end of this video, you will understand the gold market in a way that most investors never will. So make sure to stay until the end, leave a like, and let's start with one chart, one ratio, and it will tell you everything. There is a measurement that very few people discuss outside of economic circles. It compares the total market value of all gold in the world to the US money supply, specifically M2, which is all the cash and bank deposits that people can access and spend. This ratio shows you how much of the financial system's value is being stored in gold versus paper money. For most of modern history, that ratio stays low. The financial system runs on dollars, on bonds, on credit. Gold just sits in the corner. But there are moments, rare, specific moments, when that ratio explodes upward. When investors, governments, and institutions start moving money out of paper assets and into something physical that nobody can print. That has happened exactly twice in the last 100 years. The first time was 1933, right in the middle of the Great Depression. Over 9,000 banks failed between 1930 and 1933. Unemployment jumped from 3% to 25%. People stopped trusting banks entirely. When trust in the financial system collapses, people run to the one thing that has held value for thousands of years. Gold became money again. Then the government acted. President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102, making it illegal for most Americans to own gold. Citizens were forced to hand their gold to the Federal Reserve. Then the government devalued the dollar by over 40% overnight. Gold jumped from $20.67 to $35 per ounce. If you had gold before that happened, you were protected. If you had dollars sitting in a bank, you were not. The second time was 1980. By then, the US had abandoned the gold standard entirely in 1971, and the dollar was backed by nothing but trust. That trust broke in the late 1970s as inflation hit 13.3% in 1979 and nearly 14.4% by 1980. Gold went from $35 per ounce in 1971 to $850 by January 1980. That is a gain of more than 2,300% in under a decade, not because people liked gold, but because the dollar was losing value every single month. When Paul Volcker raised rates to 20% in 1981 to crush inflation, gold crashed. From $850, it fell to around $300 by the mid-1980s. The monetary system stabilized. The reason to hold gold disappeared. The lesson from both moments is the same. Gold does not go up randomly. Gold goes up when the monetary system is under real stress. It is a vote of no confidence, a warning flare. Right now in 2026, the gold-to-M2 ratio is at its highest level ever recorded, higher than 1933, higher than 1980, and the economy, on the surface, still looks okay. That is what makes this signal so unusual, so worth paying attention to. And if you want to protect yourself on all what's coming, remember that YouTube is on easy mode now, and it's blowing up every small channel that does things right, as I teach you in my free community in the link below. Here is the number that should stop you cold. As of March 2026, US national debt has crossed $38.86 trillion. And here is the part that almost nobody talks about. The US government is now spending over $1 trillion per year just on interest payments, not on roads, not on schools, not on any program, just interest, on money already borrowed. For the first time in history, annual interest costs on the national debt crossed $1 trillion, even after the Federal Reserve cut rates 3 times in the second half of 2025, bringing the federal funds rate down to 3.5% to 3.75% by January 2026. The US debt-to-GDP ratio is now sitting above 120%. According to World Bank research, a sustained ratio above 77% already slows economic growth significantly. The US crossed that line after 2008 and has not come back. The Congressional Budget Office projects it keeps climbing under any realistic policy path. So why does this matter for gold? Because when debt gets this large, the government runs out of clean options. It can raise taxes and slash spending, which almost certainly causes a recession. Or it can allow the currency to slowly weaken, a quiet, gradual devaluation. No executive order needed. You just let inflation run a little above target. You let the dollar lose purchasing power year after year. The debt gets paid back in cheaper dollars, and the burden slowly shrinks. That second option is exactly what gold is pricing in right now. Gold is not saying the economy crashes tomorrow. Gold is saying the dollar will be worth less over the next decade than it is today. And the math backs that up. The Treasury's own March 2026 fiscal bulletin confirmed that PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred measure, was running at 2.9% annualized through December 2025, still above the 2% target. Inflation has not been solved, the debt keeps growing. And there is no clean exit. The US is now caught in what economists call a fiscal trap. If the Fed raises rates to fight inflation, interest costs on $38.86 trillion in debt go even higher. If it cuts rates to ease the debt load, inflation risks flaring back up. There is no good option on the table. And historically, gold thrives in exactly this kind of environment, where the government is stuck and the dollar is the pressure valve. Now here is the piece that makes 2026 genuinely different from 1933 and 1980. Something new, something that has never happened at this scale before. Central banks, the institutions that literally create money, are buying gold at a pace never seen in recorded history. From the end of World War II through 2010, central banks were net sellers of gold. They were trading their reserves out of gold and into US treasuries, because treasuries paid interest, and gold did not. For decades, the message was simple. We trust the dollar. We do not need gold. That changed in 2022. Since 2022, central banks have purchased more than 1,000 tons of gold per year, for 3 years in a row. Before 2022, the annual average was around 400 to 500 tons. They more than doubled their buying, and they sustained it. The World Gold Council reported global gold demand hit 1,313 tons in just the third quarter of 2025 alone, the strongest single quarter ever recorded in history. Who is buying? China, India, Poland, Turkey. Poland added over 20 tons in the first months of 2026. The Bank of Korea and Bank Negara Malaysia began buying gold for the first time in years. And in January 2026, even as the gold price sat near record highs, central banks still added a net 5 metric tons to reserves. At a slower pace, but the base of buyers is still expanding. And here is the single most important data point in this entire video. For the first time since 1996, Gold accounts for a larger share of central bank reserves worldwide than US Treasuries do. Think about what that means. For 30 years, the people who manage global currencies trusted US government bonds more than they trusted gold. US Treasuries were the foundation of the global financial system, and now that has flipped. Gold, which earns no interest, which cannot be printed, is now preferred over the debt of the United States government. This is not a small portfolio tweak. This is a statement. The world's most powerful financial institutions are reducing their exposure to the dollar and moving into hard assets. They are not doing it because of a theory. They are doing it because of math. When the creditworthiness of the world's reserve currency starts to come into question, you reduce your exposure and shift to assets that carry no counterparty risk. Gold carries none. You cannot default on gold. Morgan Stanley confirmed that gold surpassed US Treasuries in global central bank reserves for the first time since 1996. Their analysts stated directly that investors now watch gold as a measure of everything: central bank policy, geopolitical risk, dollar stability. And every major institution has revised its 2026 gold targets upward. Goldman Sachs at $5,400, JP Morgan at $6,300, Bank of America at $6,000, UBS at $6,200. Mid-year, Wells Fargo at $6,100 to $6,300 by year-end. These are not fringe predictions. These are the biggest banks in the world, all pointing in the same direction. There is one more layer, and it ties everything together. After the 2020 pandemic, central banks printed trillions of dollars. The US money supply, M2, exploded. Every asset went up with it: stocks, crypto, real estate, gold. Then in 2022, the Fed started pulling liquidity back. Growth slowed. Asset prices cooled. But here is what happened in 2025. Money supply growth started rising again. The financial system is still flooded with liquidity, and the Fed's rate cuts in 2025 only added more. A large portion of that liquidity is being used to service government debt, which makes the whole cycle self-reinforcing. More debt needs more money. More money weakens the dollar. A weaker dollar makes gold cheaper for international buyers. More demand for gold pushes prices higher, which brings more buyers, which pushes prices higher still. This is not speculation. This is the mechanism operating right now in real time. And yet, even after all of this, gold still represents only about 2.8% of total global financial assets under management, according to the JP Morgan data from Q3 2025. That includes ETFs, bars, coins, and futures. 2.8%, despite a 60% gain in 2025, despite hitting $5,595 in January 2026, despite every major bank raising their targets. The vast majority of global investor capital has not touched gold yet. That is either the biggest red flag or the biggest opportunity, depending on what happens next. But the real biggest opportunity, in 2026, or even better, the gold opportunity of this year is not gold but YouTube. If you want to understand how to do it, join my free community in the link below. So let's put it plainly. The last 2 times the gold to money supply ratio reached levels like this, something broke. In 1933, the banking system broke. In 1980, the dollar's purchasing power broke. Both times, gold already knew. The price was already sending the signal before most people understood what was happening. This time, the signal is louder than either of those periods, and the economy still looks stable on the surface, which means one of 2 things. Either gold is wrong, and this is the first false alarm in a century, or gold is right, and we are in the early stages of a monetary shift that most people will only recognize once it is already well underway. The world's central banks have made their choice. They have been buying gold at record pace for 3 straight years. They have moved more reserves into gold than US Treasuries for the first time since 1996. These are not retail investors reacting to YouTube videos. These are the institutions that print money, and they are choosing gold over the dollar. Gold is not just going up. It is telling you something specific. It is saying that trust in the monetary system is quietly weakening, that $38.86 trillion in debt cannot be paid back without either real economic pain or a slow, quiet devaluation of the dollar, that the fiscal trap the US is in, where raising rates hurts and cutting rates also hurts, has no clean way out. and that the institutions who understand this best are already repositioning. In 1933, if you had gold before the banks closed, you were protected. In 1980, if you had gold before inflation peaked, you made over 2,300%. The question for 2026 is not whether gold has already moved. It has. The question is whether the signal it is sending has fully played out. Based on the debt trajectory, the money supply and the central bank behavior, the answer is no. It has not. JP Morgan sees $6,300 by Q4 2026. Goldman Sachs says $5,400. The World Gold Council says structural demand has further to run. And the conditions underneath all of this, rising debt, abundant liquidity, a weakening dollar, geopolitical tension, are still firmly in place. Gold hit $5,595 on January 29th, 2026. The signal is the strongest it has been since the Great Depression. What you do with that is up to you, but now you understand exactly what it is saying. Watch this video on screen to understand which compounding strategy you should use in a crash, and subscribe to always stay updated on what's coming. See you soon. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.